Is the former Deputy Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of South Africa and now the Executive Chair of the Institute of Election Management Services in Africa. Terry, very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Globe.
Good evening to you and to your viewers, and thank you very much for having me.
Are you at all impressed about the turnout of, the numbers of South Africans who came out to register so far? I mean, just under 500,000 people registered by the end of this voter registration weekend. Are you at all impressed with the numbers?
Well, from the beginning, the Commission had already indicated that they're expecting around 400,000 people. So if we have 500,000 people having registered and as new registration, it would mean that the Commission has really achieved its objective and its target. So we will only be able to tell, nevertheless, how many people have actually turned out when the Commission gives the report, either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
And the IEC tested new systems and, I must say that it got off to a rough start as the voter management devices were not functioning in some instances. And, the IEC blamed this particular glitch to, a problem linked to a mapping functionality. But overall, was the IEC, according to your understanding, able to sort this out?
Well, it is not surprising that they had some difficulties with the new device. It was for the first time that this device was being utilized for the first time in such a large scale, and therefore it was expected that there was going to be having some challenges and difficulties and glitches. And the fact that they've actually been able to pull it off, I think it's something that is commendable, and we'll be able to see exactly where the difficulties are. And I think that this was largely a dry run for the elections. And, now they know what kind of areas they've got to focus on in order to improve the system so that by the time we get to the elections, they don't have those kind of challenges and difficulties.
Terry, earlier on we had viewers tweeting and telling us that, they're so frustrated with the whole online registration system because in some instances it required them, to send their live locations and did not request their physical address. And I'm talking about the first-time voters or the first-time people who registered to vote. So are you also of the sense that, some people were so frustrated and they did not register at all and the IEC lost so many people as a result of that?
Like I indicated, because this is the last registration weekend, and both the online registration as well as physical registration in voting stations or registration stations were inundated with people who were now wanting to take advantage of this platform. There were always going to be some difficulties, but the good thing is that even though registration in voting station has ended, there is still going to be an opportunity for people who have not gone to the voting stations or registration stations to register online either tonight or tomorrow until such time that the minister has actually proclaimed the date of the elections. It is only the proclamation of the date of the elections that will close the voters' roll.
And I know that in some parts of the country, internet connectivity is a bit of a problem. And I understand, the IEC did mention that the VMDs or the voter management devices, in some instances, they operated offline. Will that not, violate or maybe the credibility of the whole voter registration system?
No, I don't think so, because even in some of the voting stations that I went to where the device was not working at all, there was a manual arrangement where the voter details were captured. And I would assume that after registration has taken place, all that information would actually be captured into the system. And those individuals who have actually registered would then be captured into the system, and they will be able to participate in the electoral processes.
Just how prepared is the country for online voting?
It's for the first time that this has been happening. All along, the legislation was saying that people must register in person at the voting station. I think it was towards the end of 2017 when we change the legislation to make sure that there is no requirement for people to register in person. And now that there is this system that has been made available, I think it's a great opportunity for many people who did not want to go to the registration stations to queue to be able to participate in the electoral processes. So it's an advance. There'll be some difficulties and challenges, but I'm sure young people would really appreciate the fact that they don't have to go to the registration station to queue in order for them to add their names on the voters' roll.
There were several hotspots identified by the IEC, and it does not, however, from the weekend reports, indicate some serious violations, right?
Absolutely. Fortunately, the fact that the Commission worked very closely with community leaders and law enforcement agencies, I think it has actually assisted in terms of lessening tension in those areas that had been identified as hotspots. And I think on the basis of that, those individuals who wanted to be part of the process have been able to take advantage of this process and platform to register to participate in the process.
We're just over a month away from this poll. Do you think the IEC is adequately prepared to conduct this vote?
Now that we've gone through this process and now the Commission is going to be focusing on candidate nomination processes and the closing of the voters' roll as per the election timetable, the greatest challenge that the Commission will have, it's going to be in relation to the issue of the design, the production, and the distribution of ballot papers and voters' roll. Because as we will appreciate, this election involves about 4,500 distinct ballots in different wards. And therefore, for the Commission to be able to pull this off within such a short space of time and making sure that every ward receives the ballots that are relevant for that particular ward is going to be quite a challenge. And we will see how the Commission is able to put it off. But the period within which they're supposed to be doing this is really, really tight and limited, and it's going to be the greatest challenge going forward in these elections.
All right, Terry Tselane, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, that was Terry Tselane. He is the Executive Chair of the Institute of Election Management Services in Africa. This is The Globe on SABC.